Okay, so 233 is where we are. Welcome back. We're here from break. Before break, we had a bunch of pages we never really looked at. So there was a page 231 that we looked at for real, but 233 we never really did any of the answers. So real quick, I'm going to pop you like a taste of the answers on 233, just so you can know if you're on the right track. Answer questions if you have them. But let's see, one is a difference of squares, so you'd want to go like x plus 12, x minus 12. There's a few questions that are difference of squares like that in this one. For number two, you'd have to just do some guess check stuff. So we'd go 2x in the one group and x in the other. Where's my answers hiding? Here we go. So 2, I'm going to go 2x plus 3 versus x plus 4 as our factors. Did we skip 3's on that page?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 is another difference of squares, but you have to take out a GCF first. So we go 2x to the front, and then in parentheses something like y plus 5, and then another factor with y minus 5. Let me skip down to like 13. 13 is a factor by grouping question. So one of the groups is going to be 2x minus 7. The other group is x squared plus 2. 29 is a cube question, so let me pop one of those. 29 answers something like 2p plus 3q. Another factor that has something like 4p squared minus 6pq plus 9q squared. And if you got that smattering of them, and if you check your odds for the rest, that should give you enough feedback to know if you're good, bad, or neutral at this. But basically, that's like a whole page that resembles the little quiz that we did twice. It's got like a little bit of everything on it from page 233. Does anybody need any help with anything that's showing up on 233? Yep.
13.
13. So with 4 terms, what I would try to do is factor by grouping, because I can't combine anything there.
Yeah.
So I would look at the first 2, and what do the first 2 have for a common factor?
X squared.
X squared. So if we take off the x squared, it would have a negative 7 and a 2x. Are you okay with that?
Okay.
So when we take on the back 2, we need to have a negative 7 and a positive 2x again. We need these to match. If these don't match, you're done.
Okay.
Do you understand that idea?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there something that you can take off of the back 2 that leaves you a negative 7 and a 2x?
Yeah.
Yeah, what can you take off? That's it. So this thing that's already in parentheses would be one of the factors. The other factor would be the x squared plus 2. That's just like... Anything with 4 terms should do that. So 13, 14, 19, 20.
Yeah.
A lot of those 4-term ones, if you skipped around on that, that's maybe the key to open that lock. I will say this, 23 has 4 terms, but it's different. 23 doesn't factor with a group of 2 and a group of 2. 23 needs to factor with a group of 3 and then a weirdo. So like for 23, the y squared is the weirdo.
Yeah.
You'd have to factor the other 3 as a group and then like deal with the weirdo later.
Okay.
Anything else? 233, anybody that skipped around or had troubles? 19. So 19 has 4 terms, so I would look to go grouping on 19. My first thing I usually try with grouping is just attack the first 2. So do the first 2 on 19 have anything in common? Anything in common on those first 2?
C.
C. So if you pull off the C, it leaves you an A and a D. So I'm going to go to this back 2 and try to do the same thing. The parentheses have to match. So I need to have an A plus D somehow. I need these to both be positive because those were both positive. Right now they're both negative. So there's something in common, and I can fix that negativity in one swoop. What's in common to those? The B. And then how can I fix that like negativity? Anybody jump in with advice on how to fix it? Take off a minus. Because just like distributing in a minus does, what does taking out a minus do? Switches all the signs. So if I need to switch all the signs, take out a minus. Are you with that? So in the answer, you'd get A plus D as a group. The other group would be the stuff that's not in parentheses. C minus B is the other group. Anybody else, 233, have any sort of hang-ups about what was supposed to happen on any of that? Yes, sir.
So I'm just looking at it. How would you start number
31, it's a cube problem. So it's just like how we did a bunch of cubes on page 231, but let me just do 31 to remind us of the cube pattern, how it works. Welcome back, Happy New Year. We'll get our reminders all in.
Merry Christmas.
So for 31, I have 64p cubed minus 1. So when we factor a cube, what does 64 become? 4. Why 4?
4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4, 16.
4 times 4
Or 16 times 4.
times 4 makes the 64. Once upon a time in the notes, I made a table of squares and cubes. We just need to look through our cube column. If it were squares, yes, 8. But cubes, it's 4. Then what do we do to the power on the p?
P.
It's just a p, because what if it were a 30?
10.
It'd be a 10. What's the process?
Take it 3 out.
Divide by 3. So divide power by 3. Sign? Copy this time. 1, we do the cube thing again,
1.
and that's 1. So that's how we'll build the first factor. Cube root numbers, divide powers by 3, we keep signs, first factor create. Question about that? To make the second factor, should I look at A or should I look at B?
B.
Look at B. So how do we build this?
4 times 4, P.
4 times 4 makes
16.
16. P times P
Squared.
is P squared. Sign?
Uh,
Plus to be different. Middle?
4P.
4P. Because we do this times that to make middle. Sign?
Plus.
Plus this time or always?
Always.
Always.
1.
1 from 1 times 1. And that's how we do anything that's a cube problem. Page 231 had 21 of those problems.
You see, I'm not stupid. I just gotta do the work, you know.
Anybody else? 233. Run into any hang-ups over break, recently, before break, things that are empty, things that you want to confirm, any problem areas from 233. Yes, sir.
How do you do 23?
23. I would, like in my mind, shuffle the order up so that the y squared is like at the end where misfits can go.
Yeah.
Work on x squared plus 6x plus 9 being factored.
Yeah.
Do you have a factoring on that yet?
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
X plus 3 squared.
X plus 3 squared. And then the minus y squared is at the back. So let me do a simpler problem to build momentum. So if I dropped you this one, what would you do for that?
X plus y, x minus y.
Correct. So what this has in common is the plus y minus y is unchanged.
Yeah.
But instead of x being squared, it's x plus 3 being squared.
Okay.
And then you quit. If we could combine like terms, we would. Sometimes we've had them that did, but that one just didn't.
Okay.
24 should also do that. 24 has a group of 3, but out of order, and then a misfit.
We didn't do.
Oh, we didn't do that anyway. Okay.
And then 35.
35, I would shove the 20 term to the front,
Yeah.
and then that's going to be like a guess check one. Like with 20, what might
Yeah.
is that enough?
Probably good.
Okay. You know what I mean by the guess
Yeah,
check?
yeah.
Anybody else 233? Things that have anybody hung up? Okay, so if there's 233s that are done, down those go. Then let's hunt some 236s. I don't think I really looked at these. I think I was just holding these.
Didn't think so. Mr. Rosie, can I go to the bathroom?
Sure. Okay, so 236, what we did is used our factoring skills to try to solve equations. So before we did anything, there was something you had to do to the equations. Memory of what had to happen to the equations before you could do anything really with it? Most of them, they did this for you already. Make it equal 0. If the problem didn't equal 0, most of the time we'd want to make the problem equal 0. Then you'd factor, and then you'd pop some answers. So let's say we got to a point of x plus 8 and x minus 7. What would the answer be because of this? Negative 8. Answer for this, positive 7. If I sneak that in there, it's not now just positive 7. It's positive 7 over 3. So once we have the factors, we can read answers from this. So let me hit you with a couple answers. But most of the problems, get them equal 0, factor, get 2 answers, on we go. 1 should have gotten you a negative 7, a positive 4. 2 should have gotten you a positive 9, negative 5. 4 should have just gotten you 1. When you factor, it's a square, two twin factors. Don't write the same answer twice. Don't say the answer is 1 and then 1 again. Just give me the single answer of 1. 5 has a single answer of 6. And then let me skip down a few. 10 didn't have a number. So we still get those equal 0. But when you factor, what kind of factoring do you do on 10? GCF. What's guaranteed an answer when you factor off a GCF on those? 0. So 10 is going to be 0, and then also negative 9. What's the next one of those that doesn't have the number present? (28). So 28's answer will also be 0, but this time what's the secondary answer? 0 and who? Positive. It'll be a 0 and a positive. Let me jump back to 11. 11 was short the x term. It has the x squared, it has the number, but it doesn't have the xy thing in it to be in the middle. So these, we do a different approach. You want to get the x squared alone, and then what undoes squaring? Square root it. So if we get the x squared alone, it would equal 9. If you square root 9, you've got square root of 9? It's 3, but there's 2 answers. It's not just 3. It's also negative 3. So you could either write that separately, 3 and negative 3 in a list like this, or you could write plus or minus 3. Either way. Similarly, 13 would be plus or minus 6. 14 would be plus or minus 9. If you're short the xy term, it's going to be plus or minus whatever the number may be. That's a little taste of some answers. I don't think we have time to do every single page, every single one. But I can answer questions if there's more people stuck on anything. Anybody have anything on 236 that has anybody stuck? 7. So 7, we have t squared plus 9t equals 0. The factoring would be to pull off a t. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's wrong one. Sorry, Josh. I went to the one below that. 7, I'm going to copy it back in descending order. X squared 9x 20 equals 0. Is that the one you need?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would switch the order back where we're more comfortable. Now we'll factor xx. What do you think about signs? Pluses both ways. How about numbers? We have to multiply to 20, but add pin 9. 5 and 4 will do it. Are you okay with that? Then this will give you an answer of -5. Because -5 adding 5 is what's going to create a 0 to happen. So -5 would zero that one out. That one we get -4. If this had been a subtract 4, then this would be +4. But that didn't happen, so we go negative. Anything else? 236, anybody that's stuck on anything from the 236 life? 13. So 13, since the z squared is already alone and there's just a number over there, just do the square root. Square rooting undoes squaring. So the square root of 36 would be 6. And then our other answer is going to be -6 as well. Anytime you do a square root, there's two options, a positive version and a negative version. Anybody else, 236, run into any hang-ups whenever you did this, be that 2 weeks ago or be that over break or be it
Never.
this morning or never, as the case may be? Anything 236? If those are done, send those down. I can check those in. 238 is what's brand new due. This is the lesson we learned the last day before we went on break, and now here we are back from break. I'm guessing this is a mixed success. Our studious type people did it, and our other folks that have trouble motivating themselves have even more trouble over break motivating themselves.
You know, you're taking a pretty good guess.
So 238, I'll hit you with all the answers to this because the only way you're getting credit for this homework is that you have an equation you created as well as some work as well as an answer. So I've got nothing to lose by just reading you every answer. So 238, number 1, we're hoping for 7 over 2 as well as -3 over 2. 2 is similar, it's a 9 over 2 and a -5 over 2. 3 is an 11 and it's a -12. 4 is a 12 as well as a -13. Those are all about the same. I had started you on number 1. So if your paper is a wasteland, watch the video. The video would have started you on number 1 already. And we finished a few of these. I forget how many we finished, but we did a few all the way through.
3.
That sounds about right. 5, we've got a width of 7, a length of 12. That's one that I had started. 6, width of 8, length of 12. 7, width of 75, length of 100. 8, width of 9, length of 12. Those are all about the same. 9, I got you started. 9 should be a list of 2 odds, 9 and 11. 10's the same kind of problem, I just hadn't gotten you started. It's a list of 2, 13 and 15. 11, I got you started, and I think I maybe finished that one. 3 is the final answer. 12 is the same type of problem. 6 was the final answer. 13 I definitely had started, ended up with a height of 7 and a base of 16. 14 is the same type of problem, height of 9, base of 4. 15 I had gotten you started, final answer was 2. 16 is the exact same question, it just has a final answer of 6. Yeah.
16?
16. Did you have an equation started?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
So what we'd have is a picture of a square where everybody has an x. Then it talks about the area. So anybody, what would that, x squared, it says is equals 12 more than
Yeah.
is always plus. Then perimeter, what's the perimeter of that thing?
4x.
4x. You okay?
I should be good now.
All right. Anybody else? 238. Any hang-ups that you had over the last 2 weeks-ish of break in doing page 238? Other than the motivation, all I could do there. If you want to stand up, I could like kick you in the butt or something if you need more of those. Yeah.
For 11 and 12, why is there only one 5? I got 2 8s.
Was one of them negative?
Yeah.
Okay, you can't have negative squares. So if we're doing like a geometry kind of real world shape problem, negatives have to get thrown away. So while that mathematically is probably true, it's just not realistic to say, hey, my square is negative whatever inches.
Okay. So I go with which
Just keep the positive answer and ditch the negative.
So, it's related to the sheet. It's probably because my brain's in the break. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I'm definitely doing something.
Okay, I can look at what you have, because that only is going to benefit you. Anybody else 238 with anything I can talk about that would be beneficial to our whole group of people trying to do page 238? Is anybody stuck on anything? We can't do that little quiz in 9 minutes, so people that ask questions, you did a nice job there. You stalled for enough time to help your friends. So tomorrow, our #1 priority will be get through the worksheet. We'll get through the worksheet first, and then I will look at my watch, and if we have like 10, 12 minutes left, then yeah, we'll make go time of a little quiz. Otherwise, we'll just get to that some other day. But little quizzes will be back someday soon. You have another 238?
I've run into a dead end.
Okay.
on 16.
Okay. So I would leave the x squared on its side where it's positive.
Yeah.
Subtract the 4x, subtract the 12.
Yeah.
So xx, different sides.
Yeah.
Multiply to 12, subtract to 4.
It'd be 6 and 2.
6, 2. 6 goes with minus, 2 with plus.
Yeah.
This gives us an answer
6.
6, which is the win. That would give you a -2, which is a throwaway.
Yeah.
So 6 is it. 16 is 6.
I checked 56 can't be straight.
Okay. It's like in my mind, I feel like that's like with this. Like if one of the legs of the side is 6, then it'd be 36,
36 for area,
and then like
24 for perimeter.
I was thinking it was 6 Okay, that makes sense.
It's all part of waking your brain back up from break. You're good? Anybody else 238? Any hang-ups? Okay. If you have those done,